You know that feeling of being absolutely bombarded with information 24/7? It's a lot. But what if, and this is a big what if, that flood of data, instead of being this huge source of stress, could actually become our greatest asset? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea from the book, The Hyperconnected Mind, that promises to help us do exactly that.
I mean, this question really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Is your digital life a tool or is it a trap? It's a question a lot of us feel deep down. You've got this constant tension, right? On one hand, you have to be connected, but on the other, you feel completely ensnared by it all. It's like we have these amazing, powerful tools, but most days it really feels like they're using us. And that just leads to this constant low-grade buzz of anxiety in the background.
And yeah, this is the daily reality for so many of us. You know exactly what this feels like, having like a dozen tabs open in your browser, and maybe a dozen more open inside your own brain. You're just trying to focus on one thing, but the pings, the notifications, the sheer volume of information just leaves you feeling totally scattered. And here's the thing, this isn't just about managing your time better. It's a whole psychological state. It's the state of digital overwhelm. So all of this leads us to what the book calls the connectivity paradox. It's pretty simple, really. We need to be connected to get by, to work, to live, but that very connection is the thing that completely drains us. So what do we do? What's the way out of this trap? Okay, but here's the big idea, the key reframe. What if the problem isn't the connection at all, but our approach to it? What if we've been looking at this whole thing completely backwards? The book suggests that the issue isn't the stream of information itself. The real issue is that we've been desperately trying to build a dam to hold it all back, when what we should be doing is learning how to navigate it. This is a huge shift. It's moving from this defensive, stressed-out crouch to a position of calm, psychological power. And that's where this concept of hyperconnectivity comes in. So what does it actually mean to be hyperconnected in a good, healthy way? Well, it's definitely not about being always on. That's the trap. Instead, think of it as a mental discipline. It's about retraining your brain to see every little piece of information that comes your way, every email, every article you scroll past, not as another annoying distraction, but as a potential data point, a clue that could help you solve your next big problem. And this quote from the book just nails it, doesn't it? The goal isn't to disconnect from the stream, but to learn how to swim in it. We all feel that impulse to go on a digital detox, right? To just unplug from everything. And look, that's totally understandable, but it's just a temporary fix for what's become a permanent reality. The real skill, the lasting skill, is developing the mental strength and the technique to move gracefully within that current of information, to find what you need without getting pulled under by the chaos. Okay, so that's the big idea. It sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? How do we put this into practice? Let's break down what the book calls the hyper-connected method. It's actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First up, you curate. Think of yourself as the curator of your own mental museum. You get to be really intentional about what information you let in. Next, you link. Now, this is where the magic really happens. You start consciously training your brain to look for connections between seemingly random things. Like an idea from a podcast you were listening to, and that tricky problem you're facing at work. And then finally, you synthesize. This is where you take all those different threads and you weave them together to create something totally new, a novel solution that wouldn't have existed otherwise. So what does this actually look like in action? Let's see how this idea of synthesis leads to some powerful, real-world problem solving. Okay, check out this case study. What's so cool here is how it shows you can turn what feels like random noise into a crystal clear signal. See, the distracted mind looks at this and just sees three separate, unrelated things: an article about the economy, a tech podcast, some social media data. But the hyper-connected mind, it sees ingredients. You see an economic trend towards sustainability. You hear about a new biodegradable material. You notice a cultural shift where people want eco-friendly brands. When you link those three things, the solution, launching a sustainable packaging company, suddenly doesn't feel like some random stroke of genius. It feels like an elegant, almost obvious conclusion. And when you start doing this, it really unlocks something profound. I mean, we're not just talking about finding one good idea. This is about developing a whole new way of seeing the world. You start to see patterns and connect the dots everywhere. And that feeling of chaos, it starts to transform into this incredible sense of calm control. Suddenly, information isn't your enemy anymore. It actually becomes your most powerful creative partner. And that's the real goal here. This isn't just another productivity hack to try for a week. It's about stepping into a whole new way of being. It's about becoming the calm problem solver. So let's really look at the difference here. this tale of two minds. On one side, you've got the distracted mind. It's always reacting to notifications, seeing all this info as just noise, and feeling completely overwhelmed. It's fighting a battle it can literally never win. But then you have the hyperconnected mind. It's not reacting, it's conducting. It's like an orchestra conductor, gracefully directing the flow of information, listening for the harmonies, and knowing exactly when to bring different ideas together to create something new and powerful. It really is a fundamental shift from chaos to clarity.
And that's the journey we've been talking about, right? It's about moving from that all too familiar, stressful feeling of being overwhelmed by all the digital noise to a state of focused, calm control. A state where you are the one directing your attention and you're using this incredible network for your own creative goals. So, as we wrap this up, the question really isn't about whether you can handle the information stream anymore. The real question is, what are you going to build with it? With this new framework, this new mindset of calm and connected thinking, what's the first big, complex problem that you are going to go out and solve?